Good morning, student. Welcome to the lecture series of mobile application and development. Let's summarize unit number 3, that is UI components and layout. So let's discuss about the control flow. Control flow contains 4 main components like activities, services, broadcast receivers, and content providers. So what is activities? Activities are nothing but they handle the user interaction to the smartphone screen. Your activities handle all user interactions to the smartphone screen. Services handles background processing associated with an application, and the broadcast receiver handles communication between Android operating system and Android application. And the last component, that is content provider, handle data and database management issues. Okay, so your activities handle user interaction, service handles background processing associated with an application, broadcast receiver handles communication between Android operating system and Android application, and content providers handle data and database management issues. So activity represents a single screen with a user interface, and in short, activity performs action on the screen. For example, email. Email application might have one activity that shows a list of new emails. Another activity might be compose an email. Also, another activity might be reading emails. So, such type of activities are handled by these activity components. And this is the syntax for the activity. Then next, services. So service is a component that runs in the background to perform long running operations. For example, service might play music in the background while the user is in different application, or it might fetch data over the network without blocking user interaction with an activity. And this is the syntax for the service. Next, broadcast receiver. Broadcast receiver simply responds to broadcast message from other application or from the system. And the lastly, we have content provider. So content provider component supplies data from one application to other on request. So you have to go through this theory thoroughly because you have your MCQ pattern exam, and for that MCQ pattern exam you have to read each and everything very carefully to mark your answers. Next, there are some additional components also like fragments. Fragments represent a portion of user interface in an activity. View, that means user interface elements that are drawn on screen, including buttons, lists, forms, etc. View hierarchies that control screen format and appearance of the views comes under the layouts. Now, intent means messages wiring components together. External elements such as strings, constant, and drawable pictures are comes under resource components, and configuration files for the application are comes under the manifest. So in the previous unit, we have seen how to run our Hello World application onto our Android virtual device, but we are unaware about the process about the folder and about the project structure of Android. So let's talk about the Android application structure. Now go to your Android Studio project structure. You could be seeing a similar type of structure. So just navigate yourself to the project from this drop down menu. Here you can see that. Use this drop down menu. On going to project, you will be finding such a structure where you will be having folder name as application. In this folder, you will be finding a folder like build. Okay, here is a build folder. After that, libraries, then source folder. After that, the RES, that is resource folder, along with the manifest file and main activity file. Okay, so here is an Android manifest file. Now, these things are the part of the applications that you will be using frequently in your upcoming units and in your upcoming lectures. So let's talk about this. So the build, what is build? All the files that have been generated, that means Java files, comes as a part of build. So even your application after being compiling, the APK file that we get comes as a part of the build. Okay, so if I see that as an APK is a part of the build, the APK files. So we are aware that as a programmer, as a developer, always distribute our APK to the user. So I think you have to go, you have got about the build. Now you have finding some more folders in the build, as here you can see that generated, intermediates, and output. So I have told you that about generated one, the files are generated automatically from java.glass file. Outputs are our APK files. Now let's come to the part that is next model, which is a library. Now what are the library? So imagine you want to use an existing library, say a library of sending some emails, library of XML. All these libraries are predefined and available at jars to you. So as a developer, users go to your library folder, import this jar, and now you can automatically include all your jar over here. So the jar include over here will give their functionalities in your Java class, where you can use these functionalities to produce your code. So this makes Android application easier from the developer point of view. Now next is source folder. Now if you can see properly under the source folder, under the main, we are getting option as Java. Here under the source folder, under the main, we have option as a Java and RES. So let's come to the Java first of all. I think you are very much aware what Java is and what the Java stands for. So to learn Android application, you need to learn Java. But where to use Java? All the Java that we use or that we need is actually written in this Java folder. Okay. So in this Java, you are given a sample. So I can say that a normal package, this is a unique identifier of your application. This identifier is having a Java file or can have multiple Java, which will be using for your coding in your daily purpose. So all the application code is in this particular Java file. We also call them the activity files. So after that, there is a source main Java, and after that, there is a source main RES. Source main Java and source main RES. So as a word, RES is very clear. What is RES? RES means resources. Now what are the resources for you? Resources are nothing but small packages, small individual components that stand alone. So I am using image background for my application. Where do I store that thing? I am using a UI XML. Where do I store that thing? By the icon of my application. So where do I store my icon? I will store all these things in resource folder. Okay. So resource means RES means resources, and if you can look here resource having this all stuff. Okay. Here it is a drawable 24. So drawable are the normal images that you are having, like background image that you taken from internet. Anything that is a static image component is in the drawable. Then layout. Now what is layout? As we have already seen that there is an XML file which name as activity underscore main.xml. That XML file is there for layout folder. Now what is this XML all about? This is nothing but user interface for your application. So whatever user interface you see, the login page, the news page, any page on your application that you have seen is a part of this layout file. So this layout folder is a folder of all XML and UI files that we are having in our application. So it can be used as small as a small button, which is being called into another XML, or can be as large as the entire page itself. So after this layout, we are having some MIP map. Here you can see that we are having some MIP map. Now, what are MIP maps? MIP maps are the icons that we are having over here. If you look at it, these are having some configurations, some pixel density like HDPI, X HDPI, double X HDPI, and so on. Now, what are these stands for? High pixel density. Okay, now you are in the same application running on Nextfile or some application running on some phone, on smartphone, a very basic smartphone. We differentiate, are they having some same resolution or no. So based on this resolution, we can choose which icon do we need for our application. So after this, we are having the values folder. So here you can see that values folder. So the value folder are basically from static component or static files or some static values that you are having. Say the name of application in this example, like hello world. So here I am having some string components here, that is string.xml. So I will be using any static component like string, some color code, some style, some animations, and all this comes as a part of values, and they are in the value folder. So after this value, we are having Android manifest.xml. Now, what is manifest.xml? Android manifest.xml is the main component holder of the application, all the things, so that there in the application is defined here. Okay, so I think Android application structure is very much clear to you. Now these are the some Android components. Now what is the component? Let's see one by one. First one is applications are written in Java programming language. We have already seen that. We are going to written applications in Java programming language. Then second one is applications are collection of reusable components. Now what is reusable components? Any Java file which you are having, and you will be able to reuse them, and you will be able to use them in some other applications or in some other activity. So these all things. So the entire application is nothing but reusable component put together that help us to give best out of the thing. Then third one is applications are compiled into Android package file. So APK file is distributed to the user or to the end user who will be actually using the application. Fourth component is that each application run in its own sandbox and Linux process. So this means that entire application is having its own scope, its own liability. If you need to use application or use something from the sandbox, you need to efficiently use them, or you need to efficiently mention the permission that we will be covering the permission. And the fifth one is application consists of components, a manifest file, and resources. Then component number 6, almost all Java classes can be used. It means entire package or entire application having some Java files that can be used freely throughout the program. So the best part Android is there is no main function. Yes, we don't have main function in Android. The starting point of Android is defined by which we called it as an activity. Then most important component is that activity represents visual window on the mobile screen. So it represents visual component of the application that is corresponding to field, and field can have only one activity linked to it. So the life cycle, each activity has a life cycle which is handled by the Android operating system. So life cycle means where activity starts, where activity ends, and where it is handled by the operating system itself. This is about the life cycle. Okay, so this is all about the Android components. We have seen almost 9 Android components. Next, we have components of screen and fundamentals of UI design. So a typical user interface of an Android application consists of action bar and the application content area, which contains main action bar, view control, content area, split action bar eclipse. Okay, which is again subdivided into 2 points, that is understanding screen component, view and view groups. So understanding screen components means that the basic unit of Android application is the activity, and the user interface is defined in an XML file. So during compilation, each element in the XML is compiled into equivalent Android graphic user interface class. And the view and view groups, an activity is consist of views. View is just a widgets that appear on the screen. So it could be button, or it could be your checkbox drop down list, or anything. So one or more views can be grouped together into one group view. And after that, we have some fundamentals of Android UI designs, which again contains views. That views are the basic user interface class. Then view groups are the extension of the view class. Activities represents the window or screen being displayed to the user, and activities are the Android equivalent of a form. So these are the fundamentals of Android UI design. After that, we have discussed in the third unit types of layouts. So there are total 5 types of layout in our syllabus, like linear layout, absolute layout, table layout, frame layout, and relative layout. So linear layout is a view group that aligns all children in a single direction vertically and horizontally. So linear layout is linear in nature. That means it can either be vertical or horizontal depending upon the orientation that we have defined. Then after that, these are the some attributes of the linear layout. First is that Android ID. So it is a unique name that we have given to the view group. Then Android orientation. So orientation is nothing but how you want your layout to be like, whether vertical in nature or horizontal. So if I give my orientation as vertical, then all elements, the all children of that class will be aligned vertically. Same as for the horizontal. Okay, then we have gravity. So gravity means where you want your view in your layout to be. So we can give them some layouts, some values like top, bottom, left, right, center vertical, center horizontal, and so on. So by this, you can align like you want your view at the top left corner. Then I will choose top left so that it align to the top left corner. In this way, I can define my gravity that will tell out how my layout will be looking. And then next is weight. So this property is particularly for linear layout only. So this one, like all the children's or the childs of the layout are given some weight, and it will be assigned that height or weight based on that particular weight, and sum of the weight of all the children present in that layout will be. So after this, we are having a property like base align. So let's say if you are working and if you are having a layout with some text, okay, so baselines are some invisible lines that we have. Now it is saying that how you want your text to be. So if I solid that my text should be baseline, then I have to choose that which element of the layout will be baseline into. And after that, Android divider, it is use the property in which we can vertically divide, in which we can have vertical divider between buttons. For example, we are having two buttons. So how do we divide them? By using divider vertical in nature. So this is all about the linear layout attributes. Okay, so in the unit number 3, we have seen how to design linear layouts and how to code for linear layouts. Okay, so we are not going to summarize this. So this is about the this is layout, and the here orientation of my layout is vertical. Here you can mention your orientation like vertical or horizontal. And this is the output which is shown in your Android virtual device. And this is the linear layout with horizontal orientation. Then next we have absolute layout. So the layout which enables you to specify the exact location of its children in terms of x and y coordinate of the items within the layout. So for this one, there is an absolute layout. So here I am having 3 buttons or 3 views, and all these 3 views I am passing the exact value where my button on view to be, that is x and y coordinates. So when we given this layout as a part of absolute layout, this layout is deprecated in the API level 3. So let's look at the properties of this layout. First one is the ID. So obviously the unique identification that identifies the particular layout. Next is layout X. You pass the X coordinate over here, and next is layout Y. So you pass the Y coordinate over here. So you have to pass the coordinate of view. We are adding here now. We have also discussed how to design and how to code for the absolute layout. So I think I don't need to summarize how to design the absolute layout. You have to just change here linear layout to absolute layout. First go to activity underscore main.xml, then change your absolute linear layout to absolute layout. This is the by default coding. Then your orientation is by default always horizontal. After that, here we have add 2 buttons, that is OK button and cancel button. So for that you have to drag and drop your button. Now the width of your button is 100 dp, height is wrap content. Now you know that what is wrap content and field parent. Now the text of my button is OK. X and Y coordinates. Now in absolute layout, you have to specify the X and Y coordinate, which defines the exact location of your button. So X coordinate of my layout is 50 pixel and Y coordinate is 361 pixels. So here my OK button will display, and the button 2, the text of button 2 is cancelled. Now the X coordinate is 300 and Y coordinate is 361. It means that both the buttons having same Y coordinates. Okay, Y coordinates means this vertical line, but the horizontal line of both the button is different, that is 50 pixel and 300 pixel. So this is about the absolute layout, and this is how the output will look like. Then next we are having table layout. So what is table? A table is an arrangement of rows and columns. So these are the rows and these are the columns over here. So when we divide our view into these rows and columns, then we come to this particular view group as a table layout. So let's see how table layout looks like. So table layout having following attributes. So first is ID. ID is a unique identification of table layout. So you cannot give 2 table layout with one ID in Android view. Then next is collapse column. So collapse column means that if I want this column should not be visible, should not be there on screen. For example, on my screen I am having 3 columns. Now if I want to collapse this particular column, I passed it as collapse column like 1. So I can have multiple columns by comma. So if I want, in a similar way, if I want to adjust my shrink size, so I passed which column should be shrinkable. So if in case there is some problem in the arrangement of table layout, this also can have column indices separated by commas. And the last one is stretch column. So if there is a new space available on the column or on the layout, you can have one column to adjust or use maximum space. This can be done by having stretch column property. So in this property, you pass the indexes to those column or that column to be stretched. Now this is how the table looks like. Now in this table, here you can see that we have a time, we have clock, after that we have first name, last name and submit button. And the next one is relative layout. So relative layout means if you have a layout, then all the children of that layout must be in relation with each other. That means relative layout. So relation means they are aligned somewhere based on the position of the formal child or the next child. Okay, so let's look at the properties of the relative layout. Again, first property is the ID, which we have discussed in the previous layouts. So it is unique identification of the view. Second, Android gravity. By this we can define that which layout or which ID or which ID of layout is above it or is similar. We can have align buttons. In this we can have view matching the bottom edge of the given ID. After that, we have Android layout underscore align parents bottom, align parents in layout above Android gravity, and Android ignore gravity. So we have discussed this all properties in details in unit number 3. We have also seen how to design and coding for the relative layout. So this is your relative layout. This is how your output looks like on your Android virtual device. In your relative layout, you have two buttons like new button and new button. Okay, the text is same for both the button, and here you have text view, that is enter your name. And the last we have frame layout. So when we talk about the linear layout and relative layout, so normally these layouts use whenever you have more than one children, but whenever you have such a requirement as now want to have a layout, but that layout will contain only one children. In that case, what we do is we use frame layout. So for example, if you have a requirement that you want only one button, what will be doing instead of creating linear layout or relative layout, I will be adding the frame layout over here. Okay, so frame can have multiple children, but it is used whenever we want a single children. So we use frame layout. So frame layout is commonly used in splash screen or where we want to add full screen, web view to display, or HTML pages. So what that splash screen? It contains just a company logo or company name. So we just have one control, either image view or either text view. So in that case, we use the frame layout. But whenever you want to add more than one views in layout, then you will not be using frame layout. You will be using other layouts like linear layout and relative layout. Okay. So this is the your frame layout. Here we have only single icon, single logo, and single text, that is frame demo. In that case, we are going to use frame layout. So this is about the summarization of your unit number 3.